Hey there, future financial wizards. Ever wondered why a dollar is worth so much in one place and nearly nothing in another? Stick around, because today we're exploring into how currencies can make or break entire economies, and what that means for you. Today we're talking about something you probably use every day but never really think about: currency. You might assume that a dollar is a dollar no matter where you go, but have you ever noticed how the value of a US dollar can change dramatically depending on where you are? Let's break that down. So, meet John. John's a regular person living in California, US, where they use dollars all the time. No big deal, right? Well, John decides to take a vacation to Paris, France, excited to explore. When he goes to exchange his dollars for euros, he's in for a surprise. His one US dollar is only worth 92 euro cents. Wait, what? John thinks, totally confused.
Why is my money worth less here?
But John's journey doesn't stop there. Next, he heads to Indonesia. Same dollar, different story. This time, that one US dollar is suddenly worth 15,500 Indonesian rupiah. John's mind is blown. How can the exact same dollar be worth so much more here? It sounds like a mystery, but actually, there's a pretty fascinating explanation. Behind these confusing exchanges is a story of economics, history, and global trust. So today, we're pulling back the curtain on why currencies have different values, what makes them rise or fall, and how this whole thing affects you. So, what's the deal? Why is money worth more in some places and less in others? To understand that, we've got to take a quick trip back in time. Once upon a time, money was backed by gold. This was called the gold standard. Essentially, every dollar had a real, physical value tied to a chunk of gold sitting in a vault somewhere. Pretty straightforward, right? But as economies grew, this became a problem. There wasn't enough gold to match all the dollars, euros, and yen floating around. By the 1970s, most countries had to ditch the gold standard, moving to what we call fiat money. In other words, money has value because the government says it does, and more importantly, because we believe in it. Now, that might sound risky, but here's the catch. Even though money isn't tied to gold anymore, its value is still determined by something real: people's trust. So, John's dollar isn't physically worth less in France. It's all about demand. While not all European economies are equally strong, the overall stability of major economies in the region and the demand for euros in global trade and investment help make the euro more valuable compared to John's US dollar. But in Indonesia, things are different. The economy is smaller, and globally, fewer people need Indonesian rupiah. That makes John's dollar go a lot further. It's like a popular new sneaker. If everyone wants it, the price skyrockets. But if no one cares, that price drops fast. The same principle applies to currencies like the US dollar or euro. The more people need or want a currency, the more valuable it becomes. Countries with strong, stable economies, such as the US, enjoy high demand for their currencies because they are widely trusted. That's why a US dollar can get you so much more when traveling to weaker economies. It's all about supply, trust, and demand. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, if money's just about trust and demand, why can't countries just print more of it to fix their financial problems? Great question. But here's where things can go horribly wrong. Imagine printing tons of money to solve a financial crisis. Sounds like a simple fix, right? But if a country floods its economy with cash, the value of that money drops. This is called inflation, and in extreme cases, it can be devastating. Take Zimbabwe. Back in the 1980s, their dollar was actually worth more than the US dollar. But after years of printing money without control, their currency became worthless. At one point, a loaf of bread cost millions of Zimbabwean dollars. That's inflation at its worst. So, how do countries stop their money from tanking like that? Well, a big tool is interest rates. Central banks like the US Federal Reserve set these rates to control the cost of borrowing money. When interest rates are high, it attracts foreign investors who want to make more money on their investments. More investors equals more demand for the currency equals a stronger dollar, euro, or yen. Then there's trade. Countries that export a lot, like Japan, with its cars and electronics, see their currency rise in value because other countries need yen to buy their goods. But when a country imports more than it exports, it has to use foreign currency to pay for all those imports, which can weaken its own currency. Now here's a wild idea. What if we just used one global currency for everyone? No more exchange rates, no more confusion. Sounds great, right? Well, not so fast. Let's look at the euro. On the surface, it seems super convenient. Multiple countries using the same money. But there's a big downside. Each country gives up control over its own monetary policy. So, when one country like Greece faces a financial crisis, the effects can ripple through the entire Eurozone, hurting even the stronger economies. Now imagine that happening on a global scale. One country's economic crisis could throw the entire world into chaos. So, while a world dollar sounds good in theory, the risks are way too high. At the end of the day, the strength of a currency reflects the strength of a nation. If you liked this video and want to see more interesting topics, please hit the like button and subscribe. Your support helps me create more content. Thank you for watching.